Hello there. Hi everyone. Gina Shumasi, psych nurse practitioner, catching you on here today. Thank you so much for following me. Please hit the like button. Please share. Comment as well. It will really greatly help carry this work forward. It takes sometimes some gutsy to show up on here, show the sisters some love. But anyways, on this channel, in this little corner on this internet street that I found, I make it okay to not be okay. Today I am going to talk about a little bit about women's health and as it pertains to trauma healing. For someone like me who has struggled with my own bouts of complex trauma, dating from childhood all the way to where I am now, so dealt with and healing and being aware and being more self-aware of where I've been and what makes me who I am, my anxieties, my inks, my quirks even, and all the in-betweens, the bouts of anxiety and depression after having children, of course, having to go through postpartum. These are things we don't talk culturally, and I really focus culturally because of where I come from and trying to normalize mental health, not just the general public or whoever would, get my videos, but also to normalize it, especially for our culture, where I come from in Africa, for our church communities, make mental health part, incorporating faith and works meaning mental works, because when we work, you're just sitting there waiting for a miracle, but sometimes God is telling you the miracle is through the work that you need to do on you to get to the healing. So it's really kind of trying the people who might be open to doing the self-awareness, the willingness to reflect into the work. So today video is going to be on complex trauma, which I struggle, ADHD, which I struggle, and PMS versus PMDD. So PMS, typical symptom of women when we are going to have that time of the month, right? It's like, imagine the red bear coming through. There's this kids movie I actually love. Can't remember the right title, but I know it's a red bear. It's a family of bears, and the mom and the kiddo, they have a power, and when they erupt, it's like, whoa. So looking at it that way. Another analogy that I've kind of learned or starting to embrace about that time of month for myself and many other women out there who might identify what I'm going to talk about is to compare it to the seasons, right? So winter, spring, what am I saying? Let me start from spring. So spring, summer, fall, and winter. So that kind of thing. I was going the reverse, winter, and then spring, summer, and then the fall where everything kind of falls off, and the winter things are dead. So I kind of try to make it as not long as possible. So at least 1 in 20 women suffer from PMDD. So PMDD is a little step up from PMS. So as we're growing up as young, adults or teenagers, when starting having our periods, which these days kiddos seem to, or young teens or tweens seem to get their periods really earlier than when I was growing up. We typically would get a period when we were like 12, 13, 14, but now it's more like, I've seen early as 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a whole different podcast. It's all a lot of time from the foods that we are feeding our children, from, all the stuff that are sprayed on, the growth hormones. So we're ingesting all those growth hormones leads to many of our children to grow faster than 50, 100 years ago, right? So be mindful about that too. That's a whole different, stage to talk about. But 1 in 20 women do PMDD. So it's like a few days before the period comes, many women might experience maybe sadness, bloating, you know, breast tenderness, amongst other, symptoms. So then the period comes in, however long it lasts, sometimes 3 days, 4 or 5 days, longer, depending on, how much bleeding you're having. So all different, different podcasts too. If you're having more than a week of bleeding, that might be something to look out for with your OBGYN or primary care OBGYN, and get some lab work done and check your iron level and all that good stuff. So this effect, PMDD, this effect is a little more where, the sadness is a more profound. The crying is a little more, lengthier, or more irritability is part of it, even anger, sensitivity to criticism, sensitivity to rejection. There are many women out there who might even have suicidal thoughts, hopelessness, feeling hopeless. It's almost like, a revved up, keyed up feeling within many people describe it as. They might feel a level of tension inside their bodies, inside their wombs. So that's just like a natural cycle, part of the cycle that, with the PMDD is more intense. But recognizing it, for me, all is about recognizing, right? Knowing what it is that's happening to you. So being aware of the fact that this is happening, this is what it is. I honestly did not even know, I knew about PMS, but PMDD, researching and getting to know even more about that diagnosis has been really, truly eye-opening. And for myself, for the past year or two, really tracking my cycle, my period, my days on the calendar, and to the T, come to recognize some of the symptoms I describe, especially when there's stress that comes along and it matches that few days before the period. It's more escalated. Like you can have like blowout or fights with people, like family members or a partner. This thing has led and could lead to potential breakups, and can lead to friendships breaking apart, because a lot of women don't even realize this is happening to them. So being aware, and I'll talk about what to do once you're aware, you're studying yourself, you're feeling your body, you recognize. It's like I say in different videos, like when you're, like, let's say you're with your partner, or with a potential partner, or you're dating, really sitting to feel within your body how you're feeling in front of that person. How is that person making you feel? Are they making you feel anxious? And then knowing that everybody has different bandwidth. I always say this. One person might be like totally unfazed by whatever that other person might be doing, or whatever stresses might be having in their environment. They might embody it and tolerate it fine. But for some of us who might be more of a highly sensitive personality-wise, just like you can't change the weather in Connecticut in February to happy, hot summer, you cannot change somebody's underlying personality, right? So if you recognize that's your personality type, which for me, I recognize that. So certain things, especially during those times before my period now, this is something, like, honestly, the past 2 years or so, I would not put myself in situations that might make me more elevated, or might cause me to just totally crumble down into rubble, where I have to kind of seem like, if you can picture what I'm saying, like just break apart, and then constantly have to put myself back together, or have to do some, clean up, and have to kind of re-salvage, maybe, let's say, relationships, or feel really shamed or guilty about maybe yelling at a clerk. I don't typically do that. I'm just using an example, not me, but maybe I've lost my cool, maybe customer service personnel, maybe you're trying to do something on the phone. Some of them can be really no a way to like get you. And you work in healthcare, it's a lot of entitlement, that gaslighting and manipulation that can also go there. So if you're in healthcare where you're more like a giver, you're very sensitive, you're caring, you're a giver, you can get tapped out, especially if you're giving to people who are not maybe being appreciative or recognizing your efforts, and rather criticize or try to pull you down or report you for little things that just don't really necessary, instead of just having a conversation or a dialogue. See what I mean? So just saying that to say, being aware of the fact that during those months, some of the stuff that I'm mentioning might be sensitive to rejection. Especially, I didn't realize that. Sensitive, being easy to be irritable, angry, argumentative, even not pleasant. Somebody experiences you those times, and during those time, and you're really having a stressful situation happening underlining, and then you're having that time of the month, and you have history of CPTSD, you have history of trauma, and you're already kind of struggling with dysregulation because of your trauma, because you're always in a fight or flight mode, because you're always in survival mode, right? So a lot of survival mode makes you even underlining be irritable. There's a lot of women who you can perceive to, oh my God, why is she so attitudey? Why is she so like very catty and very dismissive? And sometimes even depression can come off as anger, irritability. And those women are, especially whatever they're going through, have gone through, and it's piling up on them. Man, like, people are going through stuff, and especially women, when especially you have kids, you have a family, you're wearing a lot of hats. Give a girl grace. Give a girl grace, so that girl can also give that man or that partner grace back. Many of us women, we are very intuitive, we are very caring at the core. We love doing stuff, rallying our communities. We love, like for me, like I love cooking. I never used to love that, but I started loving it in my previous marriage, where I love to he loves people over. So I love to embrace the people he had over, to entertain, to look for, even though it takes me some inner work to get it doing, but I still do it, because as women, we want to have that sense of community. We are communal people. Men are communal too, but women in a more emotional state. But sometimes women to women, because we experience some of this stuff during our cycle, it can even come off as very catty, as very it just can come off a certain way. So being very aware of the cycle, right? Our cycle is such a powerful, part of our lives as women. So during those times, knowing that you're more sensitive, you're more keyed up, you're more, easy to get escalated, if you want to say, yelling at your kids easily, irritated easily at your kids, and you can't even sleep a lot of times because you're keyed up, so your sleep is off as well. So now you're running on empty. You can't focus. You're foggy minded. If you have ADHD like me, forget it. Forget about concentrating. So for me, knowing all these things, like you're getting ready for battle. So as soon as I realize, I see on my calendar 2-3 days, I can see it already happening within me. So self-awareness, putting verbiage to it, what's going on, PMS, and then maybe PMDD if it's more, like your depression during that time is more, your sadness is more, you're hopeless without anything changing, you're suicidal even those times. Make the people around you aware of what you're experiencing. Like, you're now self-aware. You realize 2 days before, like, hey, partner, hey, babe, hey, my kids, mommy's really preparing for battle here. You don't have to say it that way, but you can explain that, because guess what? You're raising your son to know. You're raising your daughter to also know, to learn about her body. These things should be taught in school, elementary, middle, high school. So we know this. These are things that we didn't learn. I didn't learn. If you learned this, then kudos to you. Learn this as I go through therapy, doing exposure, doing self-improvement work. And I'm like, oh, this is what it is. This is what it is. And you used to have that aha moment, like Oprah will say, oh, aha, this is what it is. So now you know what it is. It is what it is until you know what it is. So I give myself grace. I pamper myself. I mean, if I pamper myself, going to massage, great. If I can afford it in my budget. But if not, I take a break. I don't go to environment or places or calls or meetings or make decisions that I'm really gonna maybe regret, or two, that's gonna cause me to dismantle completely into a rubble and have to build myself back up. Of course, if it's necessary, if it's life determining, like life changing or whatever I need to, then maybe I might consider. But if not, and something that I can work around, those 2-3 days before, oh, I have to give myself grace so I can sleep. A lot of deep breaths, a lot of self-work. If I have to cry, if you have to cry, allow yourself to have that cleansing cry. Let it out. Go to your closet. Read your Bible. Get some hope from the Bible, knowing that some of the stuff are the creation, the creator, God, the universe that's making it happen. It's natural. Just like I'm saying, like the see, my ADHD is acting up right now. Just like I said, foggy brain. But it's another time of the mind. It's already passed. But the seasons, right? So give yourself that grace. I'm looking at my note to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Track it. Be aware of it. Knowing that this is happening. 1 out of 20 women experiences it. So know that you're not alone. You are not alone. Many women experience PMS, and then sometimes as we ease into our late 30s, 40s, and 50s, sometimes then it goes into a PMDD as we go into premenopausal, then preparing to menopause, and postmenopause. See, women, we have 3. Why do we have to have 3? Why? And then we have our cycles. Imagine a man having a cycle. You're bleeding through your legs. Between your legs, I should say, not through your legs, between your legs. Like, can you imagine a man? You know, I've had a lot of men, my brothers, my dad, my partner, my ex-partner. Like, if they have a cold, it's almost like the whole world is falling apart. Everybody gotta get to know that they're like dying. But every month we have to go through the cycle, and then we have to carry babies. We have to work on our bodies. I know, as hard as it is, God has given us the capacity to be able to do it, yes. But we also need grace around us. But it comes with you, sis, being self-aware. Some of us were not self-aware. Late bloomer, okay, late bloomer. If you know it before me, then kudos to you. But I like to pass it forward to those who are at the back of the bus who didn't know. You can hear. So hear me. We're at the back of the bus. Can you hear me, sis? Self-aware. Track. Know what it is. Don't put shame aside. Put guilt aside. It's okay. You're not alone. And the thing is, you know, just like the cycle so like I compare it to, you know, getting ready for what the red bear is coming. It's gonna rummage, gonna like it's gonna just raw. But you can tame that red bear. You know, you can tame it. Every now and then, if it comes out, okay, give yourself grace. Pat yourself at the back. Go see your therapist. Go sit on that couch and talk through it. You know, so, you know, like spring, you know, it's like, things are blooming. So you go through the cycle. So spring is when after your period is gone. So now you're those 3 days before, imagine it as maybe the winter, right? The winter, you hibernate during your period, you know, so like before your period, those 3 days before your period, that's fall. Your eggs falling out. So that's the process of the egg falling out, because now you can't make a baby. We carry babies. We carry life. We carry life. As women, we carry life. We carry life. I carry 2. And I carried the 3rd one. Didn't make it. but we carry life of even 4. If I'm making it real, for real. But anyways, we carry life. So that egg couldn't make life, so it had to come out. So you get ready. Those getting ready period is sensing, it's getting you. Fall is coming. The leaves are coming. If the leaves don't come out of the tree during fall and winter comes, those trees will be falling, causing all kinds of damage, right? So no, God knows why he made fall. So all the leaves will fall. So your egg is falling. So this process, your body is telling you something. The egg is falling. It's painful. Your body goes through that crisis through PMS. And if you have kids while you're PMSing, now you have PMDD. You're raising maybe a teenager, a young adult. You're dealing with finances. Maybe you're going through a divorce. You're figuring things out. You're goes through it. It's a hot, stinking mess of you as a woman. Give yourself grace if nobody is giving you grace. But give the woman, give a sister some grace, okay? Then comes winter. That's the period time. And for me, I can sleep better, sleep more, maybe more some depression in there, but it's more like you're more feminine, maybe even more sexual as you ease towards the end of your period, because now you can stop that. Maybe you can engage in some intimate time. Maybe then now you can get ready for next cycle. Maybe the baby can happen at that time, so your body is going through that time where you're more productive. You're up, you're maybe glowing even those weeks. Then those time ends, and then here comes spring again. So now your follicles are starting to get ready again. The egg is getting ready to get through that whole cycle all over again. So now spring is springing, like the flowers are blooming, your body's getting ready again. So you see how I compare it. Maybe I'll do a better job when I do another video and compare it, but that's what I'm talking about. Be self-aware, track it, give yourself grace, ask the people around you, have that conversation, tell them to give you grace, give you a break. During those times, don't make hard decisions, don't go into environments that trigger you. Just be knowing that God got you, because you will go into a natural cycle and it's hard. And we go through every month, we take it for granted, but it's hard on the body. Especially when you ease into your late 30s, 40s, and then now your seminal hormones are being tapped out, it also presents so much differently. So we have to nourish ourselves, exercise, drink water, get rest, sleep. On that note, if you can whip it in your mind, you can whip it in your PMDD, in your period time, and all of it around you, so you can maintain and nourish those good relationships that we need, because we are communal people. Love on yourself, and until the next video, bye.